everybody, welcome back to the She Shed. Today's tutorial is going to be on this waffle stitch beanie, and it adds such a lovely texture to the beanie, and it looks really complicated to do, but it's super easy. What yarn did I use? I used this double knit yarn. I got it from Lincraft. You don't even need a ball of yarn for this. It's 250 meters. It says use a 4mm hook, but I use a 5mm hook, so I generally go up a gauge to what it says on the ball. It is made in China, and this color is called Marl Grey. There it is. I'm not going to be using this colour for this tutorial. The colour I will be using is this one here, which is called Buff. Now, Lincraft do so many different colours in this, from vibrant red, charcoal, black, green, light green. There are so many colours, so you can do whatever colour you like. Actually, you can use whatever yarn you like. Just make sure your yarn matches your hook size. So let's get started. The hook I will be using is my 5mm furls hook, and you need to start off with doing a rib stitch for your rim. So do a slip knot, on your hook, and we need to chain 8 plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 plus 1. Now we are going to be working this first row into the V here. So you can see that there is a V at the front of each stitch. So skip the first stitch and go into the next stitch. Just go straight into the middle of that V. Grab your yarn, pull it through, grab your yarn and pull through the 2 on your hook, and that is your single crochet. So we will be single crocheting every stitch for this row into that V. Okay, now double check that you have still got your 8 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wonderful. Chain 1, turn, and we are just going to repeat the same process. So into that V of every stitch, go into the middle of that V, grab your yarn, pull it through, grab your yarn, pull through the 2. So make sure you're working into the middle of the V and you're getting that back stitch. So into the V, grab your yarn, pull it through, grab your yarn and pull through the 2 on your hook. At the end of the row, once again, make sure you've got your 8 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Chain 1. Turn your work and repeat. You will repeat this for 60 rows. Now, if you would like to do it bigger or smaller to fit a different size head, you need to do it as a multiple of 3. That is what the pattern is. So whatever you change it to, make sure it is a multiple of 3. If you are following along with me, 60 rows is what you need to do. I'm going to continue these 60 rows off camera, and I will meet you back here at the end of the 60th row. When you have finished your 60 rows, make sure you finish opposite end to your tail. Okay, and that should be your 60 rows. We're going to join our rim together now, so bring the 2 together. making sure that you've got your finished, your last row over in your right hand. And we are going to be joining, don't make sure it's not twisted, we are going to be joining the two together with a slip stitch. So slip stitch in every stitch, marrying up the stitches together. So start up at the very top, go into the first stitch, grab a yarn and pull through the two on the hook. Go to your next stitch, the top of your next stitch, go into the next stitch on the other side. Grab a yarn and pull through the 3 on the hook. Go into your next stitch and marry it up with the next stitch on the other side and pull through the yarn through the 3 on the hook. And keep repeating this process, grabbing the top, going through the top stitch and then on the marrying up to the other side and pulling through. And once you have got to the top and you've finished that, turn your work inside out. And there we go, it's joined, and you can see it makes a really lovely seam and you don't even know where you started and where you finished. Now we are going to start the body of our beanie, and this first row is going to be a double crochet at the top of every row that you did of your rim. So you can see how it goes up and down, so I call them hills and valleys. So there's a hill, there's your valley, there's a hill. So you're going to put a double crochet in the top of that one, double crochet in the top of that one, that one, that one, all the way around. Hence the 60 rows, because now you're going to make 60 stitches. So doing your double crochet, now I'm going to weave in my end as I go, saves me sewing it in later. So what we need to do is chain 2, and then we're going to do a double crochet in the top of every row. So at the top of this first row, yarn over, go into the first stitch, the first row, grab a yarn, pull it through, grab a yarn, pull through the first 2 on your hook, grab a yarn and pull through the next 2 on your hook. There's your double crochet. So again, into the next row at the very top, grab a yarn, pull it through, grab a yarn, pull through the 2 on the hook, grab a yarn, pull through the other 2 on the hook. And repeat this process at the top of every row of your rim. And remember, weave your end in, so you're just going to lay your end across and then just work your stitches over it, and then you don't have to sew it in later. Give it a small tug to make sure it's, don't pull it too tightly, but just make sure it's level. And continue creating your double crochet stitches around the rim. And I will meet you back when you have finished doing that. When you have created your 60 stitches, double check you've got your 60 stitches or a multiple of 3, because your pattern of the waffle stitch is not going to work if you don't have that. And then once you're sure, then we need to slip stitch into the top of the first stitch, not your chain, so not this chain here, into the first stitch there. So there's your chain. We're going into this one here. So slip stitch into there. So hook in, grab a yarn, pull it through and pull through the loop on your hook. Chain 2 and then turn your work. So we're now on the inside. So we're going to start this next row is the first row of your waffle stitch. And this is the inside waffle stitch, or the back of for the waffle stitch. So you'll see the front has the lovely waffle, and the back is quite flat. So we're going to start off with this stitch first, okay? For your first row of waffle stitch, and remember we're doing the inside of the beanie first, we're starting that way, so this is the back. We will do 2 front post double crochet. So that is yarn over, and you'll see the first stitch here, and we're going to go behind that stitch with our hook, grab the yarn, pull it back behind that stitch, grab the yarn, go through the first 2 on your hook, and then grab your yarn, go through the next 2 on your hook. And then we're going to do a second one, so yarn over, behind that stitch, so behind the second stitch there, grab your yarn, pull it through, grab your yarn, pull through the 2 on the hook, and then grab your yarn, pull through the remaining 2 on the hook. Our next stitch is going to be a normal double crochet, so it's just going to be in the top of the stitch. So do your normal double crochet, and then the next 2 stitches are going to be your front post double crochet, and then your next stitch is going to be a double crochet in the top of the stitch, and then your next 2 are your front post, and then your next one is your double crochet as normal in the next stitch, and then your next 2 are your front post double, and so on and so forth. So all this row and every second row from now on is going to be your double crochet as normal, and then your 2 front post double crochet. Okay, so remember you're doing a double crochet in the top of the stitch, and then the next 2 stitches are your front post. Continue with that round, and I will meet you back where you have finished that round. When you come to the end of this row, your last stitch should be a double crochet, and then slip stitch into the top of the first stitch, not into that chain, but into the top of that first stitch, and then chain 2 and turn. So for this row, your first stitch is going to be a front post double crochet. So yarn over, go behind the stitch, grab a yarn, bring it behind, grab a yarn, pull through the first 2 on your hook, and pull through the next 2 on your hook. Now the next 2 stitches are your double crochet, and your next stitch is a front post double crochet. Your next 2 stitches are double crochet, and your next stitch is a front post. Next 2 are double crochet, and your next one is a front post. So what you will notice, there we go, you can see the waffle stitch popping out there, and what you will notice is that what you are doing is a front post opposite to what you did on the other side, which was a a double crochet. And then where you were doing on the front your 2 double crochet, on the back it is the front post double crochet, and this is what creates that waffle stitch. So one you're doing the opposite on either side. So for this row, continue doing this, the 2 double crochet followed by the front post double crochet, and I will meet you at the end of this round. At the end of this row, you should be finishing off with 2 double crochets. 1, 2, and then slip stitch in the top of the first stitch, chain 2 and turn. And now we're repeating row 1. So with row 1, if you remember, we started off with 2 front double crochet, 2 front post double crochets. So for every time you're on the back side of your beanie, you are starting with 2 front post double crochet followed by your double crochet. So 2 front and a double, and then when you're doing your front, you are always starting off with your front post, just 1 front post, and then your 2 double crochet. And trying to talk while I'm doing this. There we go. Okay, so finish this row with your 2 front posts starting, double crochet, 2 front posts, double crochet, 2 front posts, so on and so forth, and I'll meet you back at the end of this round. At the end of this round, remember that you are finishing off with a double crochet. Then do a slip stitch in the top of the first stitch, chain 2, turn, and for this round, remember we're starting off with a front post double crochet, and then 2 double crochet, and a front post double crochet, 2 double crochet, and a front post double crochet. And you can see the waffle popping out now. So continue with your 2 double crochet and your front post for this round, and I will meet you back at the end of this round. At the end of this row, remember you are finishing your front rows with 2 double crochets. And then slip stitch into the top of the first stitch, chain 2, turn your work, and repeat. So this is now the pattern, the 2-row pattern. And remember, the back stitch, you're going to start with your front post, 2 front post double, and then your double crochet. And remember, the other side, you're going to do a single front post double followed by 2 double crochet. I think you've got the gist of it now, so I'm going to leave you to do the amount of rows that you require for your head for this beanie. Now for me, I did 20 rows or 10 waffles. So I did 10 waffle stitches up there, which is 20 rows. If you need more, do more. If you need less, do less. So keep measuring it to your head, or to the head that you're making it for, to get the right size that you would require. And then when you've done enough stitches, meet me back here and I will take you through how to close the top of your beanie. Coming to the end of my 20th row, just have to do my 2 double crochets at the end of this row. Slip stitch into the top of the first stitch, and there we go, we have finished crocheting. So cut off so you have enough left to tie the top of the beanie. Slip and then just pull your yarn through, and now we're going to sew off the top. And sewing off the top is really easy. All you need to do is just weave in and out. You don't have to go into every single stitch. Okay. Turn your beanie inside out, because you want to have your sewing on the inside, and pull tightly, but not so tight you're going to pull your thread. Close up that hole as much as you possibly can, and then just sew the hole together. And do this as many times as you feel your hole is secure. And then when you think you have done it enough, you tie off, and I do it a couple of times. Cut off the end, and there we go, your beanie is finished. Looking very cool, very textured, and I love the look. It just looks cool, something different. Alright guys, thank you very much for joining me along for this journey. I hope you've enjoyed making your waffle stitch beanie. If you have made one of these, share a photo with me. I'd love to see what you have done. You can share it via Messenger on my Facebook page. You can go to Instagram at lucky_platypus1, or you can go to my website www.luckyplatypus.com.au. I'd love to see what you have done. I hope to see you again here at the She Shed sometime in the future. Until then, have a fantastic day everybody. See ya!